What's going on, everybody? Today is episode 22 of the OSA Journey of Being an Athlete Again. In this series, I'm just trying to get as athletic as I can, sprinting, jumping, lifting heavy. So just trying to become the best version of myself, but again, trying to be an athlete again. Before we go into the video, just go check out my boy Terrell Horton on Instagram @_OhNoSetGo! Instrumental music, does amazing work. Go check him out and let's get right into the video. So for day one, week 8, I went in through some, I went out to the park. I got my, you can see my dynamic warm up here, just a time lapse before I got into my speed work. This was week 8 of my training, so this was a deload week, but I wanted to get a lot of movement in. So I had 8 total sprints. I'm a little further out, with the camera. I would like to see that drive phase a little bit longer, but I'm doing the kneeling starts here in the grass with the cleats on. Can't really see me right now, but you'll see I'm driving, push, and then slowly, gradually come up. I think I come up a little too tall. After that drive phase, you gradually want to come up, but I think I'm standing too straight or too tall. Boom, boom, push, drive. Like that one was a little better, had a little bit more lean forward. Again, these were 40-yard sprints. When I was doing them in the gym, wasn't getting the full 40, so I wanted to get some 40-yard sprints in here, and I will be upping that to probably maybe even 60-yard sprints, so I'm having to sprint even longer. Like I said, this was 8 sprints here. I did 4 with the left knee up and then 4 with the right knee up, just so I can work on that acceleration, that drive phase, that first step explosion. Again, drive, arm swing. Good. I like the lean there. I didn't come completely straight up like I did with the other ones. Let's see how I do here. Lean forward, opposite arm, opposite leg. Take off. Little slow there. Push. I still think I can make that the drive phase go much longer. And that was 8 total sprints there. So then I got into the main lift. It was just a deadlift. It was 5x5, 50% of my max, which was 185 here. So it's just a deload week. Got to take care of the body. I then went into the pen. So, I'm just doing the same weight, 5 sets, 5 reps, 185, but more of like a quarter deadlift. Just lifting off those off the rack, shortening the range of motion. I then went into the first accessory, which was that 1-arm row, 4x10. I did 60 each arm here. I want to go all the way up, all the way down, get a good stretch with the lat. I then went into the second accessory, which was chin-ups, 4 sets, 10 reps. I actually got all 4 sets here of 10 reps. I only obviously showed the one, but I was pretty excited that I got all 4 sets of 10 reps of chin-ups here. I'd like to go a little further down though. Then last accessory was face pulls. This was 4 sets, 10 reps with the green band, aiming for the forehead, keeping the elbows up. Then went into the core for the day, which was prone cobra, 3 sets, 30-second holds. And I just filmed them all on a time lapse there. I went into day 2, again, went through the dynamic warm-up. It's pretty much the same. I usually do change something at the end, which I will show you here next. So after the dynamic warm-up, I just call these hip ups. So I've got a 15-pound kettlebell sitting on my foot. I've got my hip in hip flexion, and I'm just holding that kettlebell in each position for 5 seconds. Again, working on that hip flexor here as it's in hip flexion. Trying to get that stronger, trying to get more warmed up before I go into the movement for the day. One out to the side, opening the hip up. Again, this was 3 sets of 3 reps on each side of the leg. I only filmed 1 set on each side. I then went into some box jumps here. This was just 2 sets, 8 box jumps, but no step. So it's all, I'm standing still and I got to explode. I like to see a little more arm swing here, and I'd like myself to explode more down, so then I can use that counter movement to explode back up. Again, I sped these up just so we can fly through them. 8 jumps each round. With summer, I'm able to get a lot more athletic movements in and trying to push the athletic intensity as much as I can. I then went into some hurdle hops here. It was just 2 rounds, jumping over the hurdles. See, I didn't like this one as much. Too much of a pause in between. Like the second one you'll see, I went bam, bam, got stuck here. You see the clap. I was a little mad at myself, but I'd like to go right into that next jump. Went into the main lift, 5 sets, 5 reps here. Bench press 50%. This was 115. I then went to the pins here, or the board press, which was 5 sets, 5 reps, 115 as well. So then I went into dumbbell bench. I went 4 sets, 10 reps. I went with the pronated grip here. This was 65 pounds for all 4 rounds. I was pretty impressed. Again, I went 50% with the main lift, so I was able to get a little more work in with the accessories, or wasn't as fatigued. I then went into the incline press, which was again 4 sets, 10 reps. I actually went 40 pounds for the first 2 rounds. Then I actually only got 7 for the 3rd round and 8 reps on the 4th round. What this means is I am pushing myself to failure. That is how you build muscle. You've got to push yourself to failure. And then went into the incline chest fly. Just stuck with the 15s, getting a good pull on the pecs there and controlling it. You don't want to fly through it. You want to take care of the shoulders as well. I then went into the leg raise next. This was 3 sets, 20 reps. This was the first round. Again, I'm just doing body weight here. I'd like myself to go a little lower. Just a little lower. Get those knees a little more straight. For the second round, I filmed it. I put a dumbbell between my legs for the next 2 rounds. I only filmed 1 round. This was a 4-pound dumbbell. I'm holding it between my feet as I go down and then back up. Again, this is for 20 reps. This is going to be, you're going to feel this in the core. You're even going to feel a little bit in the lower back. This is a great exercise, especially if you don't cheat. Put your hands under your butt. Again, you can if you need to. That's a modification you can do if that's something you need to do. I do not, so I put my arms out to the side just to help myself brace. So for day 3, I actually, I just filmed myself running a little bit. Not the whole time, but just little short clips from when I was running. I ran a half mile, and it took me 4 minutes and 10 seconds, which is terrible. That's definitely the area I'd like to improve on, is just building that endurance, a little bit conditioning here. I ran it, like I said, 4:10. So then I went to the main lift for the day, which was front squat. 5 sets, 5 reps, 50%, 115. Again, my legs are feeling strong. It's still just that lower back. But front squat is definitely, from the first 12 weeks to now, I already feel much stronger with the front squat since I've worked on my lower back. Went into pins here, 5 sets, 5 reps, 115. Then went into the first accessory, Bulgarian split squat. 4 sets, 10 reps each leg. These were with the 40s. This is, great exercise here. Going to help you with explosiveness and, that first step and hitting that Bacillus Medalis or the teardrop. Went into good mornings, 4 sets, 10 reps. Went with the bar. Just feeling a lot of activation here with the lower back. I then went into just a hamstring curl. It was Nordic hamstrings, but because of how tight my back was feeling after those Bulgarian split squats, I just was like, you know what? I would rather get more benefit in with the hamstring curls. I then went into the banded press, 3 sets. No, I did 4 sets this week, 10 reps each side. Again, that was fat sped up. I then went on the bike, 10 minutes, just went on a time lapse here, myself biking. This was a 2.5 miles for 10 minutes. This is one of my favorite ways to get a warm-up in before I lift. I then went into a knee hold, so I wanted to work on that hip flexion here. As you can see it, back leg, back knee, back hip, so that left hip and knee are in a knee extension. So it's actually triple extension. So you can see here, the front leg or my right leg towards the camera, that's in triple extension. The other leg is in hip flexion. Just working on the hip flexors. That was 3 sets, 10-second holds with the green band. I went into some weighted jumps here, 4 sets, 5 reps. I went with 20 pounds. That was about 10% of my body weight, trying to jump and get as high as I can, and I'm taking the arm swing out of it. I then went into overhead press. This was 50%, 5 sets, 5 reps. This was 80 pounds here. I then went into the pin, so I'm only pressing up. I'm not going below the pin there, and that was 5 sets, 5 reps, again at the 80 pounds. This is, out of the 4 main lifts, this is the one that I definitely know I can grow in. I then went into the first accessory, lateral raises here, 4 sets, 10 reps, stuck with the 20s. It's okay to keep that arm angle there. We just don't want to, move the elbow as we're raising or lowering. I then went into the YTWs, 4 sets, 10 reps with the 10s here. And then went with the T's, so Y's first, then the T's, then the W's. It's 10 reps of each Y's, T's, and W's. I then went with the dumbbell shrug here, 4 sets, 10 reps, stuck with the 65s, getting a good pull on the traps here. Up, round back, forward, back. Love this exercise. Then to finish day 4 for week 8, I did weighted sit-ups. This was 3 sets, 20 reps. I used a 25-pound plate here. This was killer. I love this. I previously was doing a 15, jumped up to 25. Again, guys, this is summer for me. I'm a teacher. I'm off. I'm going to be pushing the intensity. Like I said, sprinting more, jumping more, doing athletic movements, trying to get as athletic as I can this summer. I'm going to lower my watch my intake, so I'm not going to be eating as much. I appreciate you guys with the support. I'll see you guys in the next video.